Okay, now I'm going to laugh through a lot of this one because this is, to me, it's a pretty funny segment. But, you know, it's about my first 12-step meeting and how horrendous it was. And I say that to you, and I'm also going to do a flip side here and tell you that, you know, I think that 12 steps are amazingly powerful in helping people to recover from eating disorders and drug addiction, alcohol addiction, gambling, spending addictions, victimhood, codependency addictions, smoking addictions. About every addiction in the world, there seems to be some type of 12-step support group. And they can be awesome, and they can also be horrendous. Trust me, I've been in all kinds of them. And I want to tell you, though, that in all my work with addiction recovery for 20 years now, I've helped people to recover from addictions. I'm in recovery from a variety of addictions myself, and I'll say that the upside to 12-step is much greater than the downside. Although 12-step, unfortunately, has been looked at as a savior for people in addictions, and it really isn't. For most of us, we need a much broader base in regards to recovery. It can't. There isn't any kind of you know, one stop answer for anything when it comes to addiction or exercise. It's just like in the weight room. You know, if we say to someone that they want to totally change their body, it's going to be a combination probably of aerobic exercises and strength training and flexibility. It won't just be one of them. And the same thing with addiction recovery. 12-step is awesome, but it's not enough by itself, which is one of the reasons why for the past 20 years we've been teaching courses on holistic addiction recovery. And you can even check out a video I did here on YouTube called Holistic Addiction Recovery Certification Program if you work in the field or someone's that you know, maybe yourself has been affected by addiction and you want a broader base knowledge of how to treat it. Anyway, I'm David Essel. So, again, I'm going to tell you, 12-step is awesome, and 12-step also has some major pitfalls. My first 12-step meeting, I went to a recovery center in West Palm Beach, and they made us go to 12-step AA meetings. And so my very first one, I went, and I didn't want to go. I've been, even though this is the wildest thing in the world, I've been helping people recover for 15 years or 14 years. While I was still drinking, I was very successful helping people get clean and sober, and then I decided it was time for me to. So I went over to this treatment center for 30 days, and one of the requisites they had was that you had to go every day you were there to a 12-step meeting. So the first one I went into, this big woman stood up. She had to be about 300-400 pounds, and she was talking, crying, hysterically crying about how she wanted to drink that day, and she wanted to go and emotionally overeat, and how she was in this room and she doesn't know how she's there, but she doesn't want to be there. She'd rather out be getting drunk. She's in so much pain, and she just went on, and she is sobbing. She's literally sobbing. Now, this is my first 12-step meeting, and no one told me about any rules or anything like that have to go along with 12 steps. So I'm sitting in the audience, and as a life coach, I'm watching this woman. I'm just blown away. So she had to talk for at least 10-15 minutes, and she finally sat down, and I raised my hand. There was probably about 70-80 people in this room, and and the moderator called on me, and I just stood up and said, I have to tell you something, man. You are an amazingly, wonderfully, beautifully strong woman. And I went on and on and on, you know, just being my life coach self. Telling her how incredible she was and how strong she was and how the fact that she could pull herself away from going to drink and actually come into this meeting and share her pain was amazing. I just said, I'm blown away at your power and strength, you know, and I just went on and on and on. So I sat down and, you know, was pretty happy with the fact that she did what she did, and I'm content with what I did, you know, and all of a sudden these people started standing up and they were talking. And they were saying that they had never heard cross-talking like that before in these meetings. And this one woman stood up and said, you know, my family's been in 12-step for 25 years, and what I just heard was the most ridiculous thing in the world. And they're going on, and I thought they were talking about the woman. You know, I'm sitting there just bringing prim and proper, thinking, oh, well, I guess they didn't like what she said, and, you know, too bad for them. Well, about halfway through, this guy sitting next to me elbows me, and he goes, dude, he goes, they're just smashing you. I go, what do you mean smashing me? He goes, they're tearing you apart. And they were. Because there's this thing in 12-step meetings called cross-talking, which means that you're only supposed to talk about your own personal experiences after someone else shares their personal experiences. So because of the fact that I crossed that line and I went ahead and said how great she was, I was supposed to just talk about my life, not share my experience with her and how she felt so powerful. Well, as I left the meeting, I was getting some weird stares and looks at all these different people, and I'm walking out of there, and I was pissed. I was so pissed off. I went back to the center and I tried to find my therapist, and the next day I got up in the morning and went in and I just read him the riot act and said this was a bunch of crap. I'm never going back to a 12-step meeting again, and on and on and on. So he listened, and at the end of it he said, you know, I'm really sorry that we didn't tell you that there are rules. And that's one of the things, ladies and gentlemen, that when I work with an individual, a client one-on-one, as a matter of fact, I don't even tell them to go to 12-step meetings right away. I don't believe anyone should. And I'm going to make a really strong stance here. I think that people need to be educated before they go into those meetings. There's millions upon millions of people that walk into 12-step meetings and walk out after one or two because there's some pretty insane meetings, quite frankly. Just like there's insane board meetings and there's insane church meetings, and you know, there's ego all over the place. Small ego runs this world. It absolutely does. So you'll go into a 12-step meeting for any addiction and you'll have some goofballs in there, you know, that are trying to control the whole thing, and it's obviously that they're telling these same ridiculous stories over and over and over again. And I know that a lot of 12-steppers are watching me right now going, who is this guy think he is? I'm just telling the truth. When I work with clients, I actually coach them on how to go into 12-step. And if things happen that make them feel uncomfortable, how to still look for the gem in the meeting. We really need to start coaching people on preparing them for 12-step. Now, once I got through my tough experience and went back and back and back again, I learned some incredible secrets of 12-step meetings that I share with all my clients. I teach the people that come into my Holistic Addiction Recovery Certification Program how to teach people to deal with 12-step meetings. When people are talking and they can't relate, they can't connect. There's all kinds of secret tools that I share now with people so they keep going back to the meetings. I ended up going to 100 12-step meetings in a row, 100 days in a row, and it's one of the most unbelievable foundations for my sobriety today. However, saying that, if I wasn't forced to go back because I was in a treatment center, I would never have returned. And I know there's millions of people like me. So I share this story, part of it in jest, part of it serious, you know, saying, okay, this stuff can get crazy, but if you know how to deal with it, you're going to do fantastic. If I can help you in any way, if you're about to go into 12-step and you're concerned, if I can help, if you're someone that works in the world of addiction recovery and you're going, God, what's this guy talking about? He's got some stuff that he shares with people. Contact me at talkdavid.com. talkdavid.com, and share this video. You know, 12-step meetings aren't perfect, but they're phenomenal. To be in a room with people who are suffering from the same condition, ultimately it's the best. But we need to know how to handle it. At least get people thinking, right? And also, don't forget to sign up for Super Slowdown here at YouTube, so every one of our new videos goes right to your own account within the YouTube system. I'm David Essel. Have a great day.